So at the beginning of the movie, Arthur's not too keen on the idea of becoming king of Atlantis. But by the end, he's a little bit more keen. What's changed for him over the course of the film?
Well, I think what's beautiful about the film is that, and how I've played Arthur, is that he's went through a lot in his life, which you get to see. And I necessarily don't think he believes in himself, and it's everyone around him.
And he goes through a lot in this movie. He's like blown up, stabbed, shot.
Yeah, I went through a lot.
It's pretty brutal.
It is.
And obviously, Atlantans they come across as really powerful in the movie as a whole. But does he have more powers than just the average Atlantan?
I think the Atlanteans are. I mean, each Atlantean has their own power, but I think that's what makes Arthur, why he's so amazing, because he does bridge the two worlds. It's because he is a land. You know, he is you know, half human, half Atlantean. So I think that's what makes him special. Yeah. Obviously, what makes him even more special is the King's Trident, which he's the rightful ruler.
And do you have a favourite one-liner of Aquaman's from the movie?
Oh,
There's some great ones.
How about what's your favorite one? Because I haven't seen it yet, so I'm trying to think of what's. Well, I know it's what's from the trailer.
My favourite one is when he breaks into the ship at the beginning and says, "Permission to come aboard."
Is that your favorite? I love it. Awesome. Permission to come aboard.
So, Mera's kind of the driving force behind this movie, in my opinion. She's the one that's kind of pushing Arthur to be more than he is and coming up with the plans. Did it ever strike you as maybe she should be Queen of Atlantis?
Well, our movie is set up and to kind of be vague about the actual position because she's coming into power. She's coming into the throne. She's princess, and as we know, her marriage to King Orm will establish that I guess position. But because Atlantis functions in a very almost, it's in this like kind of archaic monarchical way. We have yet to see her come into that position, but more importantly, she's a powerful person. She's a powerful individual, princess or queen, whatever. It doesn't matter. She's a badass superhero in her own right, and I love that she's a warrior.
And I was just going to say, she kicks ass in this movie.
Yeah, she does.
Like, the fight scenes are incredible.
Yeah. I love that this movie, Aquaman, doesn't just I'm so sick of the movies just letting the guys have all the fun. This movie doesn't do that.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah.
And do you think, having proven, she's a superhero in her own right in this film, there's maybe chance for her to join the Justice League in the future or, be part of the extended DC universe a bit more?
Well, this is a little bit of a reverse spoiler alert, but I was in Justice League. But it was just a tiny intro. It just introed my character. And you know what I love is that, they're two different filmmakers. So James Wan's vision of Aquaman, which is a world story we haven't seen, but a world we haven't seen before. It hasn't been established. Whereas Zack Snyder had his own approach to these characters and to his take on the DC universe. And I was lucky to be introduced that way and really happy that James Wan really was allowed to carry out his vision of it.
Absolutely. And just a little fun question. Do you have a favourite one-liner from the movie? Because it's packed chock of great ones.
It is. It's so funny because on the day when we shot it, I was close by because we didn't really, another spoiler alert, I didn't jump out of an actual plane.
Oh,
I know. But because after the jump, I'm really close by, laying on mattress basically, or mattress pads. And so I can hear him, and I moved out of the way, and, we have to, roll out of the way because I'm preparing for him to also follow as he jumps out after me. And I heard him, but because I'm close by, I have to be absolutely still and quiet. We're shooting, and he just, off the cuff, one take said that line, "Redheads, gotta love them." And I just burst out laughing. I mean, they might have had to audio loop that to cut out my laughter. I just cracked up. I lost it.
What are you doing? Wait.
Should have a parachute.
Redheads, you gotta love them.
So, I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but a lot of your movie is set underwater.
Really?
I was just wondering, like, what were the challenges of kind of filming that, having so many scenes where you had to think about, like, hair floating in the water and stuff like that?
It took a lot of planning. It took a lot of research and development very early on to sort of understand what things would look like underwater. We did a lot of sort of dry for wet, which is the process of shooting actors in a blue screen environment, but putting actors in these really super uncomfortable rigs to simulate the look of being underwater, floating underwater, or swimming underwater, and using things that we've learned from our research to kind of apply that back to the actors. Using CG to create the hair movement and the costumes and stuff like that. It was very technically challenging.
And did you have any like moments on set where it didn't quite go to plan, or?
Like pretty much every day that was the case. But you just kind of just soldier through it. It's a movie that took a long time to shoot just by the very nature of how complex every single shot was in the film. Even down to just the idea of just a very simple scene of two people talking wasn't simple at all. So it just took a lot of time, and then we just needed to factor into it when we were scheduling the film.
But what could be greater than a king?
A hero.